as much as I probably moved on from all of this, and pretty much almost forgot about doing this video, but I was planning for a while now to do this video, mostly because I pretty much have moved on from it. It's still like since it's been 10 years now. I was thinking it's probably a good idea to sit down and share what had happened all those years ago. And that was with the 2011 floods that happened through, pretty much the state of Queensland. And yes, it did affect me as well. So, here we go. Well, after the Armenia effect, and it hit well before it hit me, where it very much hit up central Queensland along the coastline, and so I did a loop around out west here, and eventually came into here where we were still like getting a whole heap of wet weather and stuff like that, and finally after quite a lot of rain and stuff like that, and I had a nice big explosion of rain on the mountain range here, and behind me. Big sort of like two thunderstorm cells joined together and dumped a whole heap of rain. Like I think it said something like 200 mil in an hour. Of course, a whole heap of flash floating up in Toowoomba, and it's all along this side of the mountain range. And the amount of water that's already in the creeks and everything else like that from previous rainfall, that was pretty much weeks worth, or a couple of weeks worth. And it created this big inland tsunami that come through the Lockyer Valley, pretty much where I live. Places like Murphy's Creek lost a couple of people. One here where I live, and of course the big what happened down at Grantham, where I think it was like 14 people passed away. My next door neighbour here, he was at the Grantham Hotel, or the pub, and he was at the pub having a drink after finishing work and stuff like that. Next thing you know, he was on the roof. So shows how much water it actually came through and all that. And that happened all like on Monday, all this week, pretty much 10 years ago. And so like the following day, after they went oh crap here, I went oh crap at my place. And eventually it ended up having to be like after they started evacuating, and yeah. And so like where's my little story begins. So I really wanted to go down and talk about it there and stuff like that and all that, but just probably travelling there and all that, and I don't want the people feel like of me filming there and all that, but also when I'm filming this, it's still like part of the during the time of the Brisbane lockdown, with the potential of the UK strain of the coronavirus coming through this area. So it's in lockdown there, so me going there is impossible basically. So I'm gonna do a thing with Google Maps. Okay, I got Google Maps up, and I was thinking actually I'd probably be better off starting to get a bit of a rough idea of the landscape here. There's Brisbane, Ipswich, Grantham, Toowoomba. So it's all like already, from a couple of weeks worth of rain and stuff like that. And it's all, pretty full rivers, probably a little bit of minor flooding here and there. But they had one big storm cell, or two storm cells that combined. So like on the eastern side of Toowoomba, along the edge of the mountain range. And there is quite a lot of creeks that actually come off the mountain range. I think it's about 15 of them. That's not including the Lockyer Creek. So it's all like pretty much well joined up to the Lockyer Creek. So you had a whole heap of water come through and that's where you had the big tsunami happen at Grantham. Comes along the top side, joins up, and you've got the Laidley Creek also joining up in there. Comes all across, just around where the bottom of the Lake Waivanai Dam join is where Lockyer Creek join up, and the Brisbane River actually runs on the bottom there. That's actually all joined up to the Stanley River. And of course all that flood water is coming down the Brisbane River, as well as all the waters coming up through the Bremer River. So at the time, I'll bring in closer. Now, where am I? Down here. So I lived there. There's a sort of block of 5 units, and I lived in Unit 5. So I got up early because I did work at the church I used to go to there. Pick someone up and seeing the river, see what the Bremer River is like, especially up here at the, where is it? Here, all that, and also by the other side of town. Well, yeah, Lime Street, yeah, the old Toowoomba Road there. Even actually on the Monday I went to drive down here. It's just about a metre and a half underneath that. So shows how much water was flowing at the time. But yeah, I lived here at Lime Street, and so I got home after I went and did a bit of grocery shopping, or tried to. The thing is, sort of like the pandemic pop buying we had with all the COVID and everything else like that was pretty much what it was like when the big major flood warning came through. So you see, I lived not terribly far away from the Bremer River. In fact, down here was actually a stormwater drain, and it actually started to flow up the stormwater drain and to create a nice big pool of water right there. So it's like Tuesday, and probably like 6 o'clock, it was all pretty much already filled up and started flooding all along down the bottom here and up there. And it was sort of like slowly start to make myself evacuate and all that, and try and get all the small stuff up to the church. I was that, and all that was allow me to store some stuff there. And it was about midnight by the time I finally got to bed. So that's after someone pulled in the driveway. I wanted to check their place down the, I think it was that place there. But waking up 4 o'clock and seeing it starting to move up about here on it, so then it started to become sunrise. So I'll swip over to satellite view. So it was like 4:30 in the morning. See if I actually can get street view. You can give me street view. Probably not. Like 4 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, and I was like very bright-eyed. I wasn't going to get any more sleep. 4 hours was enough. It's all like started to level up about here. Hasn't gone through here yet. It was starting to do a little bit of bow here. It was very straightened out a bit. Started to do a little bit more like course splitting up there and all that. And didn't quite get into my place, but starting to get through at the bottom here with the houses below. It started to go into the childcare centre there, and all the way through here was all flooded already. And Let's see if I can pull up. Give me a sec, see if I can pull up Street View. There we go. Yeah, there we are. So I'll just. So yeah, that's what. Oh, yeah. So just move up a bit. That's the units I lived on. Pretty much that was the letterbox I was actually sitting on when I took this particular shot. At like 20 to 5 in the morning, and I parked my car up there because it was starting to come over the street there and all that. Oh, I've got actually redone the driveway there. It's yeah, it's followed that. That house there was starting to go under on the second level. That's a 2-story place, and yeah, started to go through at the bottom of that place. Let's move down a bit. Yeah, so it would have been underwater there. Show how high it is, you know, down below, show how high it is. It actually gone up to the second level here to about there in that place. So that was all like underwater. You only saw the roof of the childcare centre. And as you know, in some ways it was very much a blessing in disguise, because when it did flood in my place, gone down the driveway, around the back and all the yard and everything else like that, but it came in level with the slab. But all my furniture was actually up on that back balcony there, and the balcony behind. But yeah, so that's all like what happened there, and probably gone to about there. I think it peaked at about there. Whereas, you know, it was definitely above that driveway, so I think it peaked at, you know, probably where that drain was. That's where it peaked. 5 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. And so I just gone down and saw the retaining wall along there, so I just went across like that. It sort of shows I haven't really been back there since. So it's sort of, in some ways, the first time I've been seeing this in 10 years, basically. But when it peaked, that place was on the water. That particular place, apparently the laundry got some water in it, but that's about it. They went sort of like that. Well, actually, it's sort of like peaked just underneath the second. Just peaked sort of like just the edge there. So it's sort of like 3/4 of the wall there was that the townhouses there. All got done. So it sort of shows that come up the street here. There's actually a little bit of video footage of my show. Oh, that house was, there was a house actually there, but I think a couple of years later it actually caught fire or something like that, so obviously it's got knocked down. It's it showed it still like actually it did flood up here and had a road closure up here. There's got road, it actually floodwaters come up along here. I'll show you a video here of that of someone actually doing some footage.
Oh, what the hell? This wasn't flooded this morning.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I want to go down Canning Street.
You can't go anywhere that way.
Well, we can go and have a look, honey.
I want to get past.
So, yeah, actually the person who lived there actually grabbed some of his furniture and actually put it up on this balcony here. No one was living there at the time. So like all hands on stations, it's like neighbours helping neighbours out there. We probably first time we met each other and all that. So, but yeah, that's where I used to live. Yeah, so I'll throw up some photos here of sort of like when it sort of like peaked. So it was the unit that my parents actually owned and I lived in, and they were planning to renovate it. And we pulled up the carpet, and there was no damage inside the house. Pulled up the carpet, and there was actually a sort of like a salt line underneath the door and underneath the bedroom window and all that. Of just probably just a bit of a ripple just coming through, but it shows there's still like the boundary line there, and it's still like show outside the entrance of my place. It's still like show that line of the waters and the fence along the back as well. So it's sort of like, well, I usually put it down to it's sort of like if I had 5 minutes more rain, I probably would have had water in the house. So, but it definitely did show there could be community spirit and everything else like that, and you know, helping my neighbours out is, you know, pretty much a real tough week of, you know, needing to evacuate through to helping my neighbours, you know, pretty much just clear out their house basically, and just had to throw out a whole heap of things and everything like that. So it was, you know, a bit of a real tough week, and I lost like a little bit over 3 kilograms that week, as you know, all that hard work, hard yakka and everything, and not much eating, and probably got a little bit of dehydration as well. But I did get the New York Times to come around and have a chat with us. I ain't going to mention though, but I'll have a link to the article down below. Well, eventually parents asked me to stay out of the unit because they wanted to get someone in there that could pay more rent than what I could afford, and so I ended up staying with my parents' place for, you know, a period of time before I eventually found this place out in the Lockyer Valley. And you know, so I heard some people's stories out here of, you know, things that happen out here and all that, and so, you know, I've got an idea of what happened, and sort of like if anything like that happens in the future, I'm still like a bit more wary of it. And you know, I did have some times where I probably had a little bit of an anxiety attack, especially with probably in the 12 months after it happened. But you know, I eventually overcome it all and everything. Would it say it'd be like a vivid thing in my mind? You know, definitely not. But always, so I just remember that, you know, you've been through this, and you can probably share your experience with others so they can learn. And you know, of course, there's, you know, people, especially out here in the Lockyer, who, you know, probably couldn't sort of move on as well as they could. So like instead of going off and talking to like a counsellor or something like that, they much prefer to be talking to their lawyers. You know, eventually they probably got the message to move on and start ruining it for everyone else. Because they're pretty small minority. But as much as we could say this Australia is a very harsh land, because only 12 months ago we had bushfires, and now we're trying to do our best to overcome COVID here, and we're doing a pretty good job of showing that resilience and community spirit, could say. So it's definitely that thing of lessons learned from it all. So I hope I thank everyone for making it this far, for listening to the story and all that, and it's probably could say is just one big thing to learn from it all and everything else like that. And it could be a tough ride to take, especially in trying to get back on your feet after these sort of events. But you sure show some resilience and some initiative, and definitely that community spirit. You can probably definitely get yourself back on your feet. As you probably would have seen, especially in Brisbane after the floods, it really had that big community spirit of everyone helping everyone else out. So, yeah, this is the scrolling down below, and till next time, have a good one.